Hello everybody, this is Flashman EXE of Laser Beams. With me tonight, as always, is my partner in crime,
Breakman EXE. Evening, ladies and gents, or whatever time of the day it happens to be.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
In my time, that is, actually.
We have a special show for you tonight, as always, because none of our shows aren't special, but this one's specialer than the other ones are.
This one's so special it has its own bus.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's not a short bus either. It's a bus that drops things out of its back end for you to shoot at.
Actually, yeah, that's technically accurate.
Tonight we are going to be covering none other than what is my personal favorite entry into the Rock Band series, something we're long overdue for discussion on. We're going to be covering Mega Man Legends, or as we usually refer to it because that's how we roll, Rockman Dash. This is easily the most short-lived of the Mega Man franchise.
And that's really the saddest part about it, isn't it?
With perhaps ZX as its rival, because ZX technically only got 2 games, but there's always a chance we'll see another ZX game. I mean, you know, it hasn't been nearly as long on its hiatus as Dash has been.
Yeah, seriously, I think the odds of getting another ZX are drastically higher than getting another Dash, unfortunately.
That's because Capcom seems to think that we really, really like Ryusei.
Oh, we love it so much. Oh, can't wait for what is ticking timepiece man to appear in the next game. Oh, that's going to be such a win.
Well, they haven't said anything yet because, oh wait, that's been Capcom's MO for the last year or 5. I lost count.
Yeah, you know, actually, before we get started on Dash discussion, let's just touch on that real quick.
Yeah, I think that's appropriate because this has been an absolutely terrible last, 3? Yeah, probably ever since EXE6. Really, I guess you could blame this on Ryusei too. It seems like as soon as EXE ended, Capcom stopped being non-communicative with us about everything.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like we sit here and we wait and wait for news, and we get nothing except promises that a thing will happen soon. Maybe.
Yeah, seriously, all we're getting is, like, announcements about announcements.
Yeah, exactly. Like, next month, we'll announce something. Well, next month comes around, and we get nothing, and then 3 months goes by, and then we get nothing, and then, oh, we're going to be announcing something soon. In the meantime, have things that are only somewhat related, like Marvel vs. Capcom re-release.
Yay!
Which is great. I mean, I don't have a problem with Marvel vs. Capcom being re-released. That's cool and all. But
I mean, seriously, the game is so many freaking years old. I mean,
yeah,
at this point, you're just catering to the people that were disappointed with Street Fighter 4.
Exactly, and to be perfectly honest with you, you know, it's not a Mega Man game. I mean, it's like, okay, Mega Man's in it, but that's not a big enough. That's like us getting really, really excited about Capcom releasing basically a Sega Genesis collection, only with their games instead. It's like, okay,
wow.
Yeah, you know, I don't throw my hands up in the air and jump up and down and scream every time one of the 8-bit Mega Men gets put on the Virtual Console because I own them all, like, in triplicate. I don't
Hey guys,
need...
Mega Man 2 just came out.
Yeah, I don't need another copy of Mega Man 3. As much as I like it, I mean, I'm not going to keep buying the same game over and over again.
I will, but only if that game is Final Fantasy VII.
I will, but only if that game is Sonic 1. But I mean, seriously, it's like, just a quick sum off the top of my head, I own 4 playable copies of Mega Man 3.
What?
Yeah, I own the NES version, the Wily Wars version, the Anniversary Collection version, the PS2 Anniversary Collection version. I've probably got it on something else as well that I can't think of off the top of my head. And that's just Mega Man 3. That's not, you know, Mega Man 1, which I know I've got to own even more copies of that with Powered Up. why, why feel the need to keep re-releasing old titles that everybody has access to? Is this like some kind of counterintuitive method to stop emulation? I mean, these people can download the game in 30 seconds if they haven't already. I'm not advocating emulation, don't get me wrong here. I mean, you should respect copyright law. But
yeah, I mean, we're hypocrites with the best of them. I mean, we've known to do it, but like we still are supportive of the companies when they want to bring that stuff out. It's like, oh, you're re-releasing that? Well, see, and that's what I was going to say, is that I can appreciate the flip side of that, re-releasing things, because, it's for both, like, the old-timers and for new-timers that have, like, heard of these titles and, don't do emulation, which I guess is the big problem. But, like...
And in certain instances, it is nice, because some games are absolutely impossible to emulate properly.
Yeah.
And some games are, like Sonic the Fighters, for instance...
Yeah, exactly.
Or, some... I can understand the idea. Maybe it's a game that never came out in America to begin with, like releasing Battle and Chase on the X Collection.
Yeah.
There are certain advantages to that, because let's face it, sometimes you want to play a game on a console. You don't want to play it on a computer. That's acceptable, and I have no problem with it. But it seems like the stuff that they want to re-release is the stuff everybody has access to.
And that makes absolutely no sense to me.
It's like I said, I don't need another copy of Mega Man 3. I mean, the 4 I've got are perfect for me. And so, touching on the lack of Mega Man news recently, I basically feel like every time some major event happens, like, ooh, it's Captivate, let's all get excited, hoping that, whatever the secret mystery game that, some magazine in Japan with questionable credibility has said we're probably maybe going to get someday. Let's wait on pins and needles to see if this game is going to come out. And lo and behold, we get nothing but disappointment after disappointment. All the while, you have Capcom, forum people like Seth over there. No offense, I mean, but I don't need Capcom Unity sitting there, throwing oil on the fire by saying random, unimportant, irrelevant crap like, there's a secret in Mega Man 9 nobody's noticed yet. It's like, okay.
Yeah, dude, seriously, what is up with that?
We don't know. We have no idea. And, they're goading us on, saying things like, well, you're not looking hard enough for it because you don't need to look hard enough for it because you're looking too hard for it. Is this fortune cookie wisdom? I mean, what are you? Where are you going with this? It's like
this is misfortune cookie wisdom.
I really feel like that, yeah. And it's like inevitably it's going to be something completely irrelevant, like Bass's cameo on the computer in Dr. Wily's lab. It's like, okay, Bass is there. I see him. Yeah, he's not in the game. Okay.
Yeah, he is. The only problem is that the Wiimote doesn't have any sensors to put the fish on.
I knew a fish reference was coming. But you really do feel like that. I mean, it's like when did Mega Man news become not news at all? I mean, I understand this isn't a franchise like Transformers, which has new incarnations coming out all the time with a rabid fan base, and, I mean, you have people rushing out and fighting over action figures every time they come out. I'm not saying this is like that, but I mean, Mega Man has been around a long time. It's got, in a lot of ways, it is similar to Transformers and such kinds of comic book heroes that have multiple adaptations and that sort of thing. I mean, Mega Man has I'd say a pretty stout fan base, even now, even after all these years.
Oh,
and
yeah.
it's like,
yeah,
Capcom
definitely.
seems to really be sticking to this put all of our eggs in one basket trend. And I have to be honest with you, if you're banking on Ryusei to be your really big cash cow, then you're failing miserably, because Ryusei is not successful. Just look at the sales records. It's paled in comparison to the EXE games that came before it.
And so, I wish that we could find sales records of the Dash games to compare.
I really wish we could, yeah. I'd love to send that to Capcom.
Yeah, and what was it you were telling me about the other day as far as, like, like Ryusei being defended. What was that about?
A couple of random anons on various blogs, various websites. I know Protodude's Rockman Corner was one of them, to just name a random name. Shout out to Protodude, by the way. You're awesome, dude.
Yeah. Mad props.
Thank you for holding the Mega Man community together, because nobody else seems to care anymore.
Sad but true.
But somebody was on there basically saying that, the Ryusei games are selling great, and that, Dash was a commercial failure, and basically, if, you don't like the game that I like, and so STFU, Mega Man, Legends is dead in the water, blah, blah, blah. It was a bunch of anon ranting, and basically...
TLDR.
Yeah, it basically sounded, exactly, it sounded like astroturfing, honestly. And, it sounded like 11-year-old astroturfing, too.
Oh, even better.
I don't care. Honestly, I don't care about Ryusei. I've evolved past the point of hating it. The only thing I really hate it for is the fact that it seems to be slowing down actual progress. It's like Capcom has gotten to the point, I don't know if it's because of budget cuts, I don't know what it's due to. Maybe it's just due to the declining interest of video games in Japan. I mean, there's been a bunch of recent surveys and polls saying that the gaming society in Japan has been really beginning to dwindle recently. Maybe that's it. I don't know. But it really bothers me how it seems like Capcom... I don't care. If you guys want to focus on Ryusei and make another 5 games in the series, that's fine. Have fun, knock yourselves out, I don't care. But don't put the other franchises on the back burner because you feel like you can only focus on one thing at a time when you're not doing that good of a job with what you're doing in the first place. You guys were able to develop the EXE games, which were leaps and bounds better than the Ryusei series, right alongside Zero and X and everything else they were doing in the early 2000s. You do not need to focus all of your guns on a failing franchise. And if you expect Ryusei to keep bailing you out after all of this, Capcom is really going to be in for a very, very rude awakening. I can only hope that the complete works that came out recently for Ryusei is any given indication that the series is over, because typically when they drop a complete works, they don't rush out to make more sequels after it. So maybe that's an indication. I haven't played Ryusei 3 yet. I've played the first 2 and beaten them, so I know how they end. I haven't even touched Ryusei 3 yet because it's not out over here. And the last time I imported a Ryusei game was with 2. I imported it and I never even played it because I knew that if I started playing it, I was just going to lose interest in it. And sure enough, here comes Mega Man Star Force 2, and I've got Ryusei 2 that I paid full price for and never even put in my DS. So,
aww.
I wasn't going to make that same mistake with Ryusei 3, paying an overinflated amount to import it just for the game to come out, 8 to 9 months later, and then just me be able to play it then. And it's not like I care about spoilers for it. If this was one of the EXE games, or if this was Dash or X or even Classic, I would go out of my way to import because, even if I can't understand the game, I don't want some major development like, Proto Man dies at the end, I wouldn't want that to be spoiled for me if I could avoid it at all possible.
So they both put Proto Man in it and kill him off in the same game?
That's pretty much, that's exactly my point. But, I really just don't see the appeal, and I don't see why they're focusing on one series at a time. I mean, honestly, stop and consider, in the last 3 or 4 years, what have we really seen from the Mega Man forefront? We saw Mega Man 9 last year, which was unexpected. It kind of came out of nowhere, and Mega Man 9 feels, rather than a genuine sequel in the series, Mega Man 9 feels more like a social experiment. Like Capcom wanted to throw together they wanted to see basically, can we get away with this? And
yeah, I could see that. And
they
you know, couple that with the fact that it wasn't actually like Capcom proper behind that game, and it was just Inta Creates again.
Yeah, and once again, Inta Creates, I think, forgot that they weren't making a ZX game because
That Zero game.
Yeah, that sort of plot does not fit in the classic series at all. It doesn't make any sense.
No.
And the way they wrap it up in the end doesn't make any sense. That's why I'm basically waiting for the next Mega Mix to come out because I know if anybody can make sense of the metal classic storyline, it's Satoshi Ariga. And I'm just sick. Really, I'm sick of Capcom locking our hands and telling us, wait for the treat, be here, stay here, be a good doggy, and watch the house, and I'll bring you a to-go box when I come back from Outback. And then, the master comes in, I'm waiting for that steak, and that to-go box. It's steak again. How do we keep getting back to this?
It's just the perfect analogy, seriously.
It really is, yeah. I've been promised this.
Yeah, seriously, you're sitting there waiting for the steak, and the master gives you, like onion rings or something to that effect from the appetizer menu.
Oh, not even that. They give you, like, the cold chips from the chips and salsa bowl. It's like, wow, thanks. I could have just gone in the pantry and eaten this. And that's how you feel, really. I mean, it's like, here, have my leftover soggy nachos. I don't want to bash on Ryusei anymore because while my personal opinion of it doesn't matter, I mean, really, truthfully, I think Ryusei's crap. I've established that over and over again. I don't need to keep saying it. What I want to say is stop baiting us with mystery games. It's like you said the other day to me. We were talking, and I mentioned this very thing. I said, when did Mega Man news become new news at all? And your response to it was something along the lines of, I think Capcom is basically stalling as long as they can to see which announcement of which game series will cause the least amount of collateral damage.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, I honestly feel like that at this point. Because it's becoming increasingly obvious that they really don't know what the hell they're doing with Mega Man. I mean, that much is obvious alone just from all the various, reboots and, storyline branching and reconnecting. The timeline is so convoluted and it's really just them trying out new things. Like, oh, let's see if we can spark some more interest by drastically changing things which didn't need to be fixed in the first place. And it's just, what are you guys doing at this point? They're so far off the mark now that I wonder if they even know how to make an older style game anymore.
It's basically, it honestly feels like there's so much grasping for straws. They don't know what their fans want. Which is bad because obviously we can't get every Mega Man fan in the world together in a room and say, okay, if you had to pick just one, what do you want the most? Because, I mean, stop and think about it. You have the fans who are fans of every franchise.
Yeah.
You have the fans who are fans of only one franchise. You have the fans who are not really fans at all, and then you have the fans that are so hardcore that they want one of every game, and it's like, you really have to, you have to kind of pick and choose at it. And it's like, case in point, I mean, I consider myself a Mega Man fan, okay?
Yeah.
But I don't consider myself a Ryusei fan, and I don't consider myself really even a ZX fan. But I like ZX more than Zero, because I don't like Zero at all, but I like Zero more than I like Ryusei, and it's complicated.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, the problem right there, is it's just complicated. I mean, it's like, at least with series like Transformers, they'll come back and they'll make homages to G1, but it's not like we're sitting here waiting for another G1 game or something.
Yeah.
And it's not like, it's like with Pokemon, with every sequel, they still have, it's not like they're killing off the Pokemon from their previous generations and you're never going to see them ever again. And, the only way you'll ever be able to play with your beloved Hitmonchan is if you dust off your old copies. I mean, hey, Hitmonchan is available in the new games, too, so awesome. You know, if you really liked that one specific Pokemon, well, you can still have it. I mean, it's not gone forever. And it feels like with Pokemon, what they do every time they come out with a new game is it's an upgrade, it's an improvement, it's more. It's like it's the same, but now it's better because it has more stuff in it. And they're not doing that with Mega Man. What they're doing is they can't come out with a new game. And I mean, this was even noticeable in the EXE series. It's like every time a new EXE game comes out, you can't transfer your old chips to it. You know, you have to start all over again, which is all right, and that's not a problem. But I think what Capcom's biggest problem with Mega Man is everything feels disjointed. There's no connection, and you know, there's an occasional nod here or there, and we'll be sitting there like and I feel like we're grasping for connections and homages in places that they aren't. I mean, it's like case in point. Okay, remember when EXE1 came out and everybody was like, "Oh, Colored Man is Clown Man for Mega Man 8."
Yeah.
I feel like that's what we're doing now. We're going back into the Zero is Proto Man and Alia is Roll thing all over again. It's like, are we really so desperate to try to make connections here that, I mean, it's like, oh, I pity the people who have tried to tie Mega Man 9 into the X series. It doesn't work.
Oh, God.
There is no connection. I mean, it just doesn't make sense. And, you know, no matter how hard you have to work to mangle the story, I guess that's my problem. Really, truthfully, that's my problem with the whole Capcom ensemble right now, is that they don't even know what they're doing. And how can we, as the fans, be expected to get excited about something when they, as the creator of the series, don't even know what direction they want to take it in? It's like...
Yeah, seriously.
And it's like you hear all these Inafune interviews, and, you know, I mean, I really do my part.
I want to make Dash 3, but they just won't let me. It really sucks, guys.
And I know he's not Yuji Naka, okay? I understand Inafune doesn't have the most pull in his company, but really, truthfully, I have to wonder how much of that is just him grandstanding. Because, I mean, honestly, if he really wanted to do something... I think
he would do it.
I think he has the pull to get away with it.
Yeah, I mean, who else is, you know, behind the scenes of the Mega Man franchise deciding, you know, character designs, you know, I give my stamp of approval on this. I mean, if you really wanted to do that, just do it. I mean, forget starting up all these, you know, half-assed revamps or, you know, reboots, additional series to try to appeal to a fan base that you're not even connected with anymore, and just focus on what has worked before and what will likely continue to work. I mean, we have not seen an actual solid Mega Man platformer since X8, in my humble opinion.
Well, exactly.
I mean,
and when you stop and think about it,
while the ZX games are, you know, they're fun and they're definitely better than Inta Creates' other stuff. It just does not compare. It's apples and oranges, honestly, because like it looks the same, but when it gets down to the feel, it's so different that there's no comparing them.
I guess another complaint I have is it's like the boss contest. Okay, you know.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to touch on that.
Yeah, they've had a long-standing tradition. I mean, this dates all the way back to Mega Man 2, so don't give me any BS about how this is something that started with the EXE.
Yeah, really. Shut up.
They have had a long-standing tradition of throwing together a boss contest whenever they want new boss ideas. Okay, that's cool, because it gives you that feeling of fan interaction. Like, you know, I mean, hey, guys, do you want to make your own Mega Man character? Yeah, we sure do! Alright, well then, you know, if you can make a Mega Man character that isn't Magic Man or Sword Man, draw it on this piece of paper and submit it to us. And, you know, and then, of course, they get 150,000 entries for Magic Man and Sword Man anyway.
No,
but
really?
I guess my point is, it's like, you know, they've had this long-standing boss contest tradition every time we have a Mega Man game. So they did it again recently. Now, you notice they didn't do it with Mega Man 9, and I think the reason they did it is because they didn't want to spoil the surprise.
Yeah, and
So-
I can understand that.
Yeah, and it's not like the Mega Man 9 bosses turned out horribly. I mean, it does go to show that after all these years, they still can put together a set of Robot Masters, at least. And, I remember when we heard their names, and we can probably date this back to a previous ELB column. I remember when we heard their names, we were like, oh dear God, they're gonna suck.
Yeah.
But
and we totally called the mermaid, too, by the way.
Oh, yeah, we totally did. And Splash One's probably going to be a mermaid or some crap. And
seriously, Splash Woman? Like, what are they going to do? Are they going to make it a mermaid? You know what? That's exactly what they're going to do. Oh, my God, no.
It'll probably look exactly like Leviathan. Yeah, I think we called that. But, and when the robots came out, they weren't bad. I mean, I'm not a fan of every single design, okay? I like some more than others. Like, I think my personal opinion is I like Jewel Man more than I like Tornado Man, for instance. That's just me being nitpicky. But, it goes to show they still know what they're doing on that end. So they decided to throw together another boss contest recently. Okay.
And that was some exciting news for us.
It really was, because it's like, oh man, a boss contest?
That means they're coming out with something. This is going to be rad.
Yeah, because they're not going to make a boss contest and not release a game. What they do is they do the boss contest, and then they pick whatever they think the best entrants are, and they put those in the game. Except for one very, very minor, very, very insignificant little detail,
which we actually didn't pick up on at the time.
Yeah, because we just knew, boss contest. Oh, okay.
Yeah, see, the problem is that they didn't actually tell us what at the time, we recognized this fact at the time, but we didn't really process what it meant. They didn't specify what Mega Man series the bosses were supposed to be, modeled from. Like, it basically sounded like they were taking all entries from anything that you could possibly ever want, and once we got past that, in retrospect, it's like, oh, well, it seems like they did this. It seems like they just did this to see what people want to see for the next game, and that really because I mean, you could have submitted a Robot Master, you could have submitted a Maverick, maybe even some form of Reaver bot. Probably not.
Probably not. But it doesn't hurt to it doesn't hurt to hope.
Yeah, but you could probably tell, you could probably just take an educated guess and say that most of the entries were probably like NetNavis or Waveroids or whatever the crap they call those. I don't know, that series is terrible. But, but in retrospect, you look at it and it's like, oh, they're asking us what they should be doing. When's the last time they did that?
Yeah. And it seemed like, honestly, at the time, it seemed like they were maybe just doing this for something like, I don't know, like a scramble battle concept, which we basically
we're not getting into that. Screw that.
Yeah, I've basically just come to map scramble battle in my mind as Super Smash Mega Man Melee. And, I think, though, yeah, like you said, at the time, we didn't really pick up on what does a boss contest with no boundaries mean. Now we know. They couldn't care less about the boss entrance. What they were after from the onset was they wanted to see, okay, what is our biggest demographic here? Well, obviously, the entrants are going to be from Star Force because that's the most recent one. So anybody who's still into the series this recently is probably still into Star Force. By process of elimination, you can reason that's going to be the one with the biggest showing, just because it's going to be the one that's been out of the chute most recently. And probably with EXE as a close second. Of course, naturally, they're not going to show us all of the boss designs, so we can't get a feel for the ratio of how many were Classic, X, Zero, Battle Network, and then, of course, how many would be original designs, like, this is Thomas the Teddy Bear. He shoots lasers from his teddy bear eyes. I don't know what series he'd go in, but I like teddy bears, and I submitted this. He'll make a great Mega Man boss.
This my frog. I lost him. I'll find my frog. Him named Hopkin Green Frog.
But honestly, you feel like that, really truthfully. And they're not going to show us what their demographics were. So for all we know, Star Force had the worst showing, and they just wanted it. They wanted an excuse to make another Star Force game. I don't know, because honestly, the feeling of malice I'm getting from Capcom is so strong.
Malice? Outright malice? Seriously?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I really do feel like they've come at the fans with malicious intent recently. It's like, okay, well, you guys aren't getting behind Star Force because, I mean, hey, whenever we'd make an EXE game, it'd come out in, like, the top 5 on sales charts, but, we made that first Star Force game, and it came in at, like, spot 37, and it plummeted from there. And we made 3 versions of it, too. What the hell's wrong with you? Well, you know what? You don't like it, but we like it because, we put a lot of money in it, and so we wanted to sell. So we're going to make another one. And if you don't like that, we're going to make another one again until you do like it. How does that make you feel?
At least they toned the version numbers down back to 2.
They did, thankfully, bring them back down to 2 for Star Force 2 and 3. But I guess what I feel like is, honestly, I feel like I'm being bullied. I mean, and when you stop and consider it, I'm not going to cite the, I built this company with my money thing, because my game purchases did not make the difference in whether or not Mega Man survived.
Yeah.
But I guess I'm just complaining that, and maybe this is just bitching on our part just as much as it is everybody else's.
Maybe. Probably.
But and I realize everybody has a tendency to think that they're right and everyone else is wrong. So I can understand that as well. What it all essentially, when you remove all of the outer layers, what it all boils down to is if it's all the eggs in one basket thing. And I personally don't think Mystery Mega Man game is a new Star Force game, like I said, because I don't think that they would come out with Star Force 4 after dropping the complete works on us. Especially since, we're going to see whatever this mystery game is this year.
Hopefully.
So they wouldn't release a complete works and then a new game 6 months later. I don't think Capcom is that retarded. But I hope they're not that retarded.
Stranger things have happened, but again, I'm in the same boat as you. Like, I could care less about that series. I hope the next game isn't of that series.
I don't think it'll be of that series, but what that brings me to is, if not Star Force, and maybe my mindset here is, and I don't want to sound like I'm doing a 180, maybe my mindset here is the devil you know, because if they don't do another Star Force game, what are they going to do? If their supposed masterpiece is going to be another ZX game, I'm seriously hoping they learn their lesson from that.
Yeah, unfortunately.
If it's not ZX or Star Force, and I doubt it's going to be Zero, because ZX pretty much is Zero at this point, then of what? Well, I don't think we're going to see another Battle Network game, because that's pretty much dead and over. I don't really think we're going to see another Classic Series Mega Man game, because Mega
soon
Man
after
9,
the last one.
Yeah, Mega Man 9 is they're still too busy plugging that as their new great thing. So, if honestly, and this is really what bothers me, I don't think their next revolutionary Mega Man game is going to be a Mega Man entry in any of the series that we already have. I'm strongly predicting another. I'm strongly predicting another spin-off, and if it is another spin-off, dear God, make it stop! We don't need another stupid Mega Man redesign every 2 years. I mean, I'm sorry, but dear God, this is what, the franchise's 22nd or something like that anniversary? Do we really need another Mega Man? I mean,
it's too much.
What's wrong with the 9 we have now? Aside from the fact that over half of them suck.
And see, that's going back to what I absolutely do not get. Because, like, every time that they try to rehash the series and make it hip and new and fresh and cool again, they're just turning their backs on the initial fan base that supported them. I mean, I understand them trying to, like, oh, we have to merge, like, change with the times. But you know what? That's BS. Look at Mario. Mario has never changed. Look at Zelda, even. The Legend of Zelda series, like, the only thing that they really changed from that is fancy schmancy new graphics, slightly different looking creatures and enemies, tweaked story. But that game is basically the same game that it has been for umpteen million years.
Even Sonic has held true to a certain core.
For the most part.
For the most part, no. And this is not a situation where we're going to hear how right Breakman is and how wrong Flashman is like we usually do. What I'm saying is the same generalized concept stands. It's Sonic versus Robotnik.
Well, yeah, I can definitely agree with you on that aspect.
I mean, it's not like it's like while they've stylized Sonic a little bit more here and there, made him a little bit taller, you know, transitioned him a little bit more into 3D. He is still the same identifiable character he's always been.
I will completely back you up on that because, like, the problem I have with the recent Sonic games is the games themselves, not what they've done with the not what they've done with the Sonic mythos. You know?
Yeah, it's not the meta that you have the problem with necessarily. It's the fact that the games themselves just outright suck, and that I don't have a problem with. But I can look at Sonic, and if I hadn't followed Sonic for the last 10 years, I could look at Sonic now and still identify him as the same character he was initially.
Yeah.
You look at Geo or Subaru or whatever you want to call him, you would not be able to identify that as Mega Man from the initial Mega Man design, I don't think.
I'm sure, granted, in every design there are similarities, but they get further and further away from the core beginning idea of Mega Man with each iteration. And that makes me cringe to think of if this supposed masterpiece is going to be a brand new series, what the hell are they going to do with them this time?
I mean, I'm half expecting a guy in a blue T-shirt and jeans running around with a handgun, and it's Mega Man. No, it's not. Oh, he's got a bicycle helmet. No, he's definitely Mega Man. Shoot me, please.
Oh, look, he dyed his dog's fur red. It's totally Mega Man.
And another thing I fear is I don't want to see a darker and edgier Mega Man.
No.
I mean, we don't
want Rockman Neo.
Well, I don't want Shadow the Hedgehog Rockman.
Oh God.
I mean, I really don't. That's not. It doesn't. I don't need Mega Man fighting things that aren't robots, etc. It just one of the things they've held to is that Mega Man always fights against his peers.
Yeah.
So if he's a robot, he fights robots. If he's, the one that probably gets the furthest away from that concept is Trigger until you beat the end of the first game, and then it makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's always like Mega Man EXE fights against other Nobbies. You have that concept and that trend that they go with. I don't want to see Mega Man fighting like alien life forms and zombies and crap.
I was just gonna say I don't want to see him like in a Resident Evil crossover.
Yeah, we don't need Mega Man Rising. I mean, we already did that. It wasn't funny the first time. So, in summary, I guess where I'm going with this is I have sort of like a laundry list of faults with the recent Mega Man series, and I understand that I'm probably just another proud member of the unpleasable fan base, and I will never, ever be happy with any concession they give me. But I don't like the trend that has started and has continued to stay in progress of basically, we don't know what we're doing. We're proud to admit we don't know what we're doing. The Mega Man series is basically whatever we want it to be at the moment, and it's subject to change due to the weather. Here, have another Star Force game. It's like, God, no.
Because we know how everyone loves those.
And as a closing note, I would like to say this. For the love of God, Capcom, put him back on a console where he belongs.
Yeah, take him off of the bloody handheld. It's not enough to sustain him. Handhelds are cute and all, and like, it's for the kids. It's for the kids, but no, that's not what we want.
No, jeez, no.
If Mega Man 9 is any indication, get Mega Man back on the home console.
Yeah, Mega Man 9 was well received.
Yes, damn right it was.
And regardless of our personal opinions on it, Mega Man 9 was well received. I thought it was better than
Mega Man 9 was
Star Force 1 and 2.
Mega Man 9 was a textbook example of a commercial success.
It was.
Take
it
a
really
freaking
was.
hint, Capcom. Learn from this.
For a non-tangible, downloadable game, they did great with it. I mean, it's something we can get behind. Now, I don't want to see 8-bit Mega Mans forever, okay? But it was a concept that worked. They did just this completely out of left field thing, and people bought it, and it sold well, and they loved it.
Yeah, seriously. And if it's like a matter of, oh, it's too risky to, try to make another Mega Man game and release it on a disc, which is why we're doing it on handhelds, because those are, a lot cheaper to make. Well, then do more downloadable games. I mean, if it takes getting a downloadable game to see like an X9 or, even, God, I hope so, a Dash 3. I mean, if that's the only way we're going to get it, we'll take it. But we want to, sit on our couches with or without people hanging around, enjoying the fun, whatever. We want to play Mega Man at home.
And as much as I hate to say this, I genuinely miss the days of people standing over my shoulder and saying, oh, the purple guy can get through there easier than the blue guy can?
We're not doing this again, damn it. Ah!
But honestly, I do miss that. I do miss sitting down and playing a Mega Man game with somebody and being like, oh, dude, jump over that, because if you do, then, the right armor parts are behind that or whatever.
Dude, watch out. Try the different weapon. Maybe that has a different effect.
Yeah,
oh, dude, you were totally right. Awesome. High five. Keg stands.
Yeah,
Woo!
passing the controller around is fun. Not only that, and can you imagine doing that with like a DS? Somebody watching over your shoulder? That's so awkward and clumsy. I don't like that about that. I like handheld games. Don't get me wrong. That's fun.
Yeah, and like the EXE series thrived on that. I mean, that was the perfect match for. That was the perfect match for a handheld system, is a game like that. And see, if you're going to do that,
a trading
fine.
card Mega Man.
Yeah, if you're going to do that, fine. But don't make your entire franchise all about that.
Yeah, exactly. It's like trading card Mega Mans are fine for the handheld systems, okay? Because that's what it's all about. I mean, that's what handhelds thrive on. Don't put platformers, don't put any kind of really anything else on there, though. And for that matter, what I'd really like to see, I'd really like to see a proper console EXE style game.
I could get behind that if it was like some sort, like the only way that I think I could get behind that is if like, I guess maybe if they introduced like a sort of MMO aspect to that. Where, like, you could go and actually interact with I mean, if you put it on a console, one of today's next-gen consoles, that could theoretically work. Yeah. But it's not going to happen because that would be too smart.
Yeah, exactly. I think the best we can hope for right now is just a continuation and more of the same. And I almost wonder, is Capcom afraid to make something like a Mega Man X9? Because do they think that like once they surpass the magical number of 8, that's it, it's over, pack up the cows and go home? I mean, not to sound crazy here or anything, but Square Enix, they don't seem to have a problem slapping new numbers on games. I mean, it's like anybody who has played the Final Fantasy games know. I mean, they know that Final Fantasy VIII is not Final Fantasy VII with one new digit on the game. I mean, they know that.
You're preaching to the choir here.
Yeah, why are we having that problem with Mega Man? It's like, 4 is exactly 3, but a different number. It's like, no, it's not. I will strangle you with your ink pen. It's not. So why do we have that problem with... I mean, I dare say that, Mega Man has been around... It got its roots with Final Fantasy and all the other 80s console games.
Yeah.
So why are we having that problem with Capcom? I mean, and it's like, maybe it's just because they have too many other irons in the fire. Maybe it's because they're sitting there saying, we want to focus on our new independent projects, and, we only do a Mega Man when we need money for them. Okay, maybe that's just it. Maybe they don't take Mega Man seriously anymore. Maybe that's the problem. But, seriously, haha, disregard that, I lock ducks. Don't don't keep churning out stuff that's the same of what fails. I mean, if you're going to keep making failure games, then you've really, really lost sight of what you're trying to get accomplished. And I guess ultimately that's all we're trying to say.
So that having been said, this has been Breakman EXE. Good night, everybody.
Good night, guys. Thanks. Tune in next time for an actual dash column.
This is I.
No, seriously. I think this is good commentary. I think I want to release this like side by side as like a separate thing.
Okay.
迫り来る謎を解け